Hi, morning.
Morning, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm doing good as well, thank you. How's your day treating you so far?
Fantastic. Fantastic. And I'm very excited about this. Also, I feel a bit technically challenged, but I also feel like I'm in good hands.
There you go. There you go. That's
Awesome.
what I'm talking about. Well, first of all, thank you so much for accepting. It is super cool to have someone as talented and awesome as you. So before we start, I have to give you an epic welcome. So if you have seen some of my episodes, you know exactly what I'm about to do. If not, it's okay. Let me show you.
Oh, thank you. That's too much. Too much.
I know. It is
Thank
epic.
you.
It is epic. Now, starting with the whole interview now, tell me, so let's start with your acting career. So tell me how it all started for you.
How it all started? It's an amazing question, especially when it comes to acting. I would put it this way. Acting was my big passion as a kid. Like that's what I wanted to do as a child. I did musical theater when I was in the equivalent, I would say, of high school. I'm Swedish, so we don't call it that. And then a little bit at uni.
Yeah.
And after that, I did some auditions. I had no real training. I didn't have a coach. I didn't have a schooling, so to say, in acting. So I started going to auditions. I botched them. It was quite bad. And I convinced myself I can't act. So I said, I can't act, but I can sing. So I continued with that instead. And all my 20s, I did singing. I did some dancing or dance training. And I didn't come back to acting until about 3 years ago, something like that. And sort of reignited a passion. That's nice. The short version. Yeah.
That's nice. And what are some of the things that you like about acting?
I love acting. I love acting that it's a craft in itself. It's taking a leap of faith. I wouldn't do acting if it weren't for my coach. I have an acting coach here in Romania, Nicoleta Petcu. And what she really taught me, because I thought why I wasn't good at acting, I would say in my 20s, is because I thought acting was about faking it or pretending.
Yeah.
And she taught me a way of working with acting. So everything is, even if you take on a character, everything you say is true. So you're working really with being vulnerable, with being truthful. And that means every time you're on stage, it's a big leap of faith. It's very scary. And it's a lot about psychology and about people and about, relationships and emotion. And that's the fun part.
Cool. And how you usually prepare a character?
Depends on the character a lot. So I do train with a coach, which means every time I prep for a character, I will talk to my coach.
Yeah.
But it depends. I would say, I usually start with, there are different ways. There's a different schools of preparing for a character. I'm sure you know. But there's tons of information online, questions to ask your character, basically. So what's their last name? What's their background story? How do they feel about different things? Their relationship? Do they smoke? Do they drink? La la la. So I usually go to those kind of questionnaires, and there's so much online, both for actors and for writers, where you sort of go deep in a character. And then the two main things is like finding how are we alike? How are we similar? Me and the character. And second is what the character wants, which in a way is the most important part. What does the character want, and what do I want in the scene? So there's a drive.
Cool. Now, what would you say it's an important aspect for young actors to know when they recently started?
I thought about this one because I think it's really interesting, especially since I felt like I didn't have training. And if I'd had, I'm really happy my life looks the way it looks because I did other things that I now can use in acting. But if I were to give advice to my younger self, I would say to get a coach. I think that's the most important part. And it doesn't mean you have to enroll in a course or that you need to go to university. It just means have at least one person that you trust who knows what they're doing and that you click with and that you trust and that can challenge you and give you some tools, and can be your ally as well. I think that's really important. So training is number one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How cool is that? Now, you also do voiceover. So
Yes.
tell me, where does your passion for doing voiceover comes from?
It wasn't really a passion, voiceover. Voiceover for me was something I started because I had, back in the day, a boyfriend who owns a radio station in Sweden, and they needed voiceover for jingles and for commercials. So I just, I went into the studio and did it. And I got some training from there, and okay, I was like, fine. And then actually, sort of with the pandemic, I came back to voiceover because I did some, before as well for commercials and stuff like that. But, with pandemic, we couldn't really do theater. We couldn't do filming, couldn't do concerts. But voiceover is still there. I can do it from home. I'm sitting next to my microphone right now. So in my little apartment. So yeah, that's sort of how I got into it. And it became a passion because it is acting,
Yeah, totally. And what were some of the challenges that you had when you started?
With voiceover?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the same challenge that I have still, which is every single job is different, which means finding out, not just finding work, but finding a way to communicate with your client so you know what they want. I think that is the trickiest part, and knowing if it's the right client for you. Because every voiceover job is so different from each other, like every single one.
Yeah, absolutely. Huh. Now, since 2008, you have done from everything from jingles to ads, radio plays, instruction videos, meditations, and even the Swedish voice for a talking doll. So tell me, what are some of the highlight moments you had during those experiences?
In terms of highlights, I would say the last one you said, like the latest things I've done that have not been commercials, because as I said, I started with commercials and jingles, and that's all about sounding as happy as possible.
Yeah.
Almost that's the feedback you get. You sound happier.
Yeah, of course.
But when you do something like a doll, or when you do like the murder mystery game that I did, it's like you get a character. So that's a highlight. You get to work in a completely different way.
Totally.
Yeah.
So tell me about your performance on Murder Mystery Game, and what were some of the things that you enjoyed about that project?
Yeah, that's a game that comes from a German company called Hidden Games, and it is a murder mystery game, and I play a character of a woman she's taking care of like how do you say this in English? There's some kind of local happening, a market, a festivity, some kind, and I'm the organizer who's being interviewed by the police. And that was a fun character to play because when I got the casting for it, I just, from the first line, I felt like I found her voice, and that's quite rare. But I could like see her in my mind. I don't know, somehow a middle-aged woman in a small town in Sweden who thinks a lot of herself and feels that she's very important, and I could just, I don't know, tap into something. So that's really cool.
So tell me also about your performance on Hidden Games and Unity Sweden.
Yeah, so Hidden Games is the same as that murder mystery game. It's the same company. And Unity, that was when I did meditations in Swedish. Fantastic company to work with, really lovely people. And doing meditations was also really interesting because that was challenging for me at first. I had to talk way slower. As you can tell, I have a tendency of talking quite fast. And like now when we have a camera in between us, like part of me wants to reach out through the camera to like be in person with you. But doing meditations, I had to sort of take a step back. And also I got to do some like editing, which was fun. Like, because I used to do a lot of editing courses at university, like music production, that I then stepped away from. And in this case, I got to work a little bit with that. So I learned more. That's always nice.
That's awesome. And what do you like the most about doing voiceover?
Character. It is the same thing as acting, it really is the same thing.
Yeah.
But the fun or challenging, it's both. It's that, you know, when I do voiceover, it's only voice.
Yeah.
So everything needs to be transmitted just with the voice. You know, you don't have body language, you can't use your face, or, you know, and it's an interesting challenge to do that, you know, to when you find a character, or if it's a particular emotion. Like if somebody were to come in and see me do my work, I would still be doing everything with my body. I would have to really pretend to play. So that's actually very fun. And then we can hear the results. It's pretty cool.
That's
but
nice.
It does work. Yeah.
And plus you can wear comfortable clothes. So.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's cool. And how you prepare your voice normally before voiceover session?
I love that question because I don't really prep, and I should. And if my vocal coach sees this, she will be like, Lina, you should prep. It's the same with music. I should warm up. I don't. So for voiceover, it's like I usually sing. Like, put it this way, like today, I'm going to talk to you, and I had another call earlier today. What I do is I dance, you know, in my apartment to get warmed up, and I sing, songs I like, just to have some kind of wake the voice up. But I don't really prep, apart from like character prep. Actually, I do that. Yeah, like trying to get into character.
Okay. And what would you say to future voice actors?
Start. I have a lot of acting friends or actors who are now going into voiceover acting.
Yeah. And
have asked me for, I don't know, advice or what I would have done or how I do it. And the thing is, I feel sometimes it's very easy when you start Googling, they make it sound like there's so many articles online that makes it sound really hard, or like you need to take a special course, or you need to do X, Y, Z. And I would say, no, you need to start. So you start with what you've got in terms of tech, in terms of studio, in terms of the kind of jobs you can get. And if you go to freelance sites, like I still get a lot of work from like Upwork, which is a freelance site, and there's loads of them. There's also the ones that are just for voiceover, but if you start to get work, that's how you learn. That's what I would say.
That's awesome.
So just start. Yeah.
Now you also sing. So tell me, like, what do you like? How this singing career started?
Singing I did all my life. Oh God, that sounds very cliche, doesn't it? But it really did. It sounds super cliche. But I went to choir when I was a child. Because that's very big in Sweden as well. Then I did musical theater. And singing has just been that thing I always know I can do. And I love the most somehow. And I would also say, funny enough, singing has become better since I've started training as an actor. Because for me, singing is, about it's delivering a message or telling a story. So it has the same prep somehow.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is cool. Now on your website, you have several songs. So let's start with You, which, by the way, I think it's awesome. So, but tell me how you got inspired for the lyrics for that song.
That song is basically an open love letter to a real person, which I'd never really said before, I think. So that is just, again, it sounds cheesy, but it's just basically a love song to somebody. And I wrote it during a time where we were not really, this person and I were not really in contact, or had like some difficulties. So that also inspired me a lot, sort of, when you love somebody unconditionally.
Okay. Tell me, what's your approach to create music?
Depends. It's a combination of just finding, most of the time I sit by the piano and I just play, and then there's a melody or something that comes up that kind of loops, and then I will sing like gibberish, basically, like nothing, to that melody, and then words come, and then some of them stick, so they will be like a line or something that I can't move. It's just it's there, and it needs to be there, and then the rest of the song will be shaped by that line. And then so 'cause it's personal stuff that sort of trickles down, or I have to find a theme or a story after that particular line that knows that it wants to be there.
That's awesome. Now, between your, between the song "You Never Leave" and "Love Worth Falling For," which one is your favorite?
I don't know if I can have a favorite. It depends. Put it this way: all the three of them brought me to something special in life beyond the song. Yeah. So the last one you mentioned, "A Love Worth Falling For," it took me to the semifinals in Eurovision Romania, which was a live TV show here in Romania. Yeah. It was my first live show. It was in a big theater. So that song is special for me because of that, because it brought me to that, you know. Never Leave was a song that is the first one that I worked with an international producer, a guy from Serbia. And I also did a music video. My first ever music video was for that song. I did a very big launch party at a fancy 5-star hotel in Budapest, rooftop concert for that song. So that's why it's special to me. But as a song, I would say it's the final. It's You that you mentioned, because it's the most, I don't know, vulnerable of the three. Yeah.
I mean, now that you mentioned that "A Love Worth Falling For" was in Eurovision, tell me more about that experience.
One of the best I've had and one of the craziest, because at the time my Romanian wasn't that good. So in a lot of situations, especially on stage, when they asked me questions, I would sort of be like, like, I don't know what's happening. So that was part of it. It's one of the best things I've done. It really is. Because it all started because me and my songwriting partner in Sweden, who is a brilliant guitarist, and he plays country music and blues, and you wouldn't think that he was into the music of Eurovision, which is usually pop. But he and I realized years ago that we both had kind of a fantasy about Eurovision, about doing something for that. Okay. And we started writing songs together, and then we just sent songs to all countries that would accept us, basically. And Romania was the country that was like, and as things are here in Romania, they called and they're like, "Can you come here in 2 weeks and perform?" And I'm like, "Okay, I'll show up." Okay. And then it was just a whirlwind, but quite fascinating. You know, I'm not Romanian, but here in this country, when you're a foreigner, you're very accepted in most scenarios. You like, which is I think it's a real nice thing. Yeah.
That's nice. And if you could describe your career at the moment in a song, what would be the title of it?
It would be either cheesy, like "Life of My Dreams," or it would be "Utterly Confused." I think it's because it's both at the same time.
Okay, yeah, I like it. Yeah, then if at some point you were gonna make a song and you don't have a title for, you already have one here, so.
That's good. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like an investment for the future, right? You know.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. And if you could do the voiceover for any movie, TV show, or even a video game, which one you would choose?
Any. You know what? I would take anything where they would let me play evil. I want to play a sarcastic, evil, dangerous, funny, wicked character. Yeah. If I could do that, like anybody, for that I'll do anything. Because I love evil characters, you know. I love them. They're funny. They have something. So yeah.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, no matter what you do, you're the villain. So everybody is expecting for you to be kind of this. Like everybody is expecting for you to go all out. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. You know, you as a villain, you can do things you can't do as a normal, nice person. You know, if you're like sweet, normal in the day, but as a villain, you can go big.
Yeah, love it. Yeah. Now, tell me, like, what motivates you every day? I mean, while I was doing this whole research for this interview, I mean, you have done so many cool things here and there. You have really cool songs, and you are super passionate about it. But I wonder, like, what motivates you to keep building your career?
I think in the end, I had part of it. It's weirdly enough my age, and I don't want to sound like I'm 36. I don't want to sound like I think that's old, because I really do believe you can do anything at any age. Because you start when you start, you know?
Yeah.
But part of it that motivates me really is that I did that, like in my 20s, I did the sort of, at some point I was like, okay, I'm going to get a normal career as a safety option. I had a lovely boyfriend at the time. I had the apartment, the car, like it was very settled in many ways. And then I had a moment, a realization. I was around 27, 28, I think, where I realized I wasn't feeling anything. You know, I was sort of flatline in terms of emotion. And I was like, and something needs to shift, because I didn't do what I really wanted to do. And I think because I've had that experience, that is sort of what motivates me, because I know what it's like and I don't want to go back. You know,
Absolutely.
I really don't want to get stuck there again or settle. So when I have moments when I might do it, you know, I feel like I'm sliding towards it, I will go like, wake up. You know, that is what motivates me.
Yeah, I think it is like one of the things that whenever you are not feeling comfortable, right? You need to, and if you want to do something else, just do it. You know what I mean? Like and also, as you just said, that the fact that you don't have to be like basically that age is not like a problem. You know what I mean?
No, because it's so easy to tell yourself that, and the thing is, it's like coulda, woulda, shoulda. I mean, you can't stop yourself. Like, say I'm 36. Yes, I'm 36. And I could tell myself, oh, it's too late to be an actor. But then it's like, what's the point? I mean, you might only have one life. If I realized I want to do it now, then it's now. You know, that's the only moment you have is now. So
absolutely. Yeah, it is true. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your life, and I think that is a problem with generation. I mean, I think that is a problem like right now, that everybody wants to do something, but they feel old, or they feel that they don't that they are not going to be able to get it because they don't have the proper connections. But at the end of the day, you just have to start, you know?
Yeah.
Basically.
Start and lean in. And then I realized also, and I think maybe it's part of being a foreigner, because when you're a foreigner and you live abroad, you have to ask for help, and you have to be the one who's sort of like, I don't know how to do this thing. Could you please help me?
Yeah.
And I realized, like, most people want to help. If you're clear about what you want, then most people want to help you. So it's just like, that's the scary part, right?
Yeah.
It's scary to ask for help. It's scary. I still find it really scary to reach out to new producers or to new voiceover clients or casting directors. It's scary. But at the same time, most people want to help you. So
there you go.
It's worth it.
There you go. Yeah. Well, Lina, what can I say? I mean, at the end of the day, you have a cool career with really epic songs. I mean, if someone is gonna reach super high eventually, it's gonna be you for sure. Because I think at the end of the day, the fact that you're honest and the fact that you are just doing what you love, I think that's very inspiring. And I think that is something that everybody should, everybody should try, or at least those who want to start doing something, to definitely just go. And the fact that you're doing it, the fact that you are living in another country, and the fact that you have done so many things, that you can speak several languages here and there, that is even more impressive. So because we finished the whole questions now, I have to give you an epic shout out. So
Oh, that's too nice.
so that is basically for finishing the questions here. Also, thank you so much for those who tuned in to watch this awesome interview. If you're watching this later on the YouTube or listening to this later on the podcast, make sure that you're following Lina. Make sure that you are supporting her in the love of her content. Normally, what I would say is for you to put pause, hydrate, and then follow Lina. Leave million likes, support, share content, why not, and then come back. And then again, I mean, Lina, you are epic here. Keep being epic, and yeah.
You too. Thank you so much. It was lovely meeting you and talking to you.
Thank
Really.
you. Now, before I send you off, now I need to send you off in an epic way. So let's go. Yeah, let's go here. So. And keep having a fantastic day and an awesome rest of the week. And I'll see you in the next one then.
Have a beautiful day. I hope it's going to be sunny.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.